Okay, I'm guessing I'm live now. Okay, hopefully I'm live now. And hopefully people haven't tapped out of the stream due to me being really late. But yeah, hi guys. Welcome to the stream. Slop string. God damn it. Anyway, let's get through the comments and then I'll start the reaction proper. Brady away choosing to react slop on my commute home. Oh well, I'll just take a bus that doesn't go underground today. React slop. Yeah, have a good day, my Brazilian friend. Hello. Did you know the hello isn't a real word? I think you mean. It's a colloquialism. Thanks for the fun fact. You're welcome. Hello. Almost forgot about this string. I'm not too surprised. It's not exactly like some really hype string, I don't think. But yeah, welcome A Fisher, welcome Kodokunasu, Evil Bookman, and Pro Dilettante. Though I doubt Pro Dilettante is still here. Uh Hello Muvelair and Fisher. Anyway, what's it colloquialism for? Slop string. What do you mean for? I googled it again and I simply am saying that is not a native word. It's an informal one like yo. And yeah, again, sorry for being late. Why is this named REACTSLOP? Because we're going to be reacting to this video, that's on screen right now. Hopefully. Yeah, it's on screen right now. Phew. Okay. But yeah. That's why it's called REACTSLOP. Okay, Muvela is just talking to Pro Dilettante. No one who says it to mean what it was originally a contraction for. Okay, so since I'm late enough already and I'm already caught up pretty much, let's finally start.
Figured I'd do another video where I talk to my McDonald's drive-through quality microphone about esoteric children's entertainment, you know, to mix things up. A little while ago, I was jonesing for a game that lets you recruit enemies. It's one of my absolute favorite gimmicks in video games. Using something against enemies that was once used against you allows you for a better understanding of the kind of unpleasantness you're inflicting. It's like how American cops tase each other, so they understand the power they wield, and also because it makes for amazing content. First, I tried a Pokemon fan game called Pokemon Insurgents. It was very competently made, but it was still Pokemon, which I cannot bring myself to enjoy anymore. They're just too simple. I could easily play 4 Pokemons at once, one on each limb. Probably pull off a 5th with my schnaz. These days I require a certain level of complexity in my video games to adequately drown out the existential dread. I want to mention, the Pokemon fan game had a
I know that he's joking about this, but have you guys ever tried to use your noses to interact with anything like touchscreen? Like I have, and it's not, it's not a pleasant experience. I don't know why, but touch screens have a very hard time recognizing parts of your body that aren't your fingers for whatever reason. If you try to use your elbows or your nose or anything else, pretty much has a really hard time recognizing it. Just something I observed and I felt like sharing, I guess.
Modern Warfare 2 style disclaimer. It warned the game contained objectionable content, and then you had the option to remove it. They specifically said at some point Pokemon fused with people, and I like to imagine that someone.
What do you mean freaky? It's literally just trying to use your nose to interact with a touch screen on a phone. Sure, it's weird, but what do you mean freaky? What?
Someone gets sucked into a whooper, and it's played super straight like a serious crime against humanity has occurred. Anyway, after I saw an image of SMT Nocturne and realized it was Persona, but you get 3 Personas, I was kinda sold. I'm a massive sucker for the modern occultism stuff in the Persona games. Mixing that with a Pokemon-like creature collector sounded right up my alley. And it was. I deeply enjoyed it. However, I'm not sure if I'd recommend them to most people. The game presents a lot of somewhat
Same type of person who would train their feet to open doors. Disgusting, my guy. No comment on that. I totally can't do that. I never even tried to do that. Surely not.
complex mechanics for the player, and it expects you to learn and apply them while also trying to casual filter you every few hours. Take some patience to figure things out.
It's freaky depending on the context. I was just trying to use my nose, like, because I was washing dishes, right? And so I wanted to pause a video while not like wetting my phone, right? Like not using my wet hands like on my phone. And so that's the context as to why I try to use my nose to like interact with the touch screen of my phone. Though I'm not curious, like I don't want to know that, but like I frankly can't imagine a context in which it would be freaky, but anyway, I don't want to imagine anymore, but anyway, you get my point. Oi must be a bird in the sky. Oi. I tried my chin before, not my nose. The chin is a bit too like wide, you know? The nose is a lot more precise, it's a lot smaller, you know? That's why I thought about using it first. When in doubt, use face. Okay, you have a point there, but still.
Patience than I think a lot of people have for video games these days. Though if you do stick with the game, it is a very rewarding experience. You start out as a high schooler in a Tokyo subway, going to meet your teacher and some classmates at an abandoned hospital. On your way there, people are gossiping about how a protest against the construction of a new communications tower turned deadly.
I'm not a bird.
Uh-oh. High up of the company involved with the tower has gone missing, and some fedora lord in the park implies the entire incident is related to some local cult activity. Once you make it to the hospital, meet up with your friends, one of which is wearing exclusively denim.
Yes.
You look at your teacher who's hanging out with the missing tech CEO guy in the basement of the hospital. Turns out the incident was cult-related, and the riot narrative was a cover-up, and the world ends. Goes from Scooby-Doo to really quick. Explaining the world had reached a point of stagnation and collapsed under the weight of its own sin and dissipating power. With the help of whatever nonsense the tech CEO guy had been up to, a little boy drops a bug into your POV hole, which gives you a full-body bioluminescent tattoo. And Tokyo is turned into a vortex world, which is a transitionary period between the old, now dead world and a new one that's yet to be made. It looks a lot like a Hollow Earth rock garden with a talking sun in the middle, dotted with abandoned buildings, mostly shopping malls, which are filled with demons.
I like how like half the comment section is like interacting with me and talking about the video, and half of it is just like lost in their own little world. just amazing, like the kind of things that occur in my chat. Anyway.
Not like fallen angel Bible demons, but actually, yes, those. But also, every other religious or mythical character or creature, including Bible angels, are walking around and referred to as demons. From what my slug brain can surmise, we're using demons in the yokai sense, where they're spirits born from human emotions, beliefs, and philosophies. Religious figures like angels, demons, and Thor manifest from the collective faiths of the old world, and they embody the ideals of the groups that birthed them. So Thor is a brutal jerk.
I love Power Energy's editing. Fun fact, I actually was inspired. Well, I was inspired by a lot of people to start YouTube, but Foul Energy was one of the people that inspired me. And so at some point I wanted to do videos like him, like editing quite a lot, like putting a lot of edits on my videos, you know? And you can see that in my earlier content, like you can see that I put a lot of images and like I edit things quite a bit, make a lot of jokes of this style, etc. But then I realized that, like, oh, wait, you're not like foul energy. You are like an incompetent hack, you know? And so I transitioned to the content I make today pretty much because I realize the limits of my abilities, you know? So yeah, just a fun fact though, like a behind the scenes of the channel. Also, I don't know if I should talk about this, but like I'm so confused by like the uh I guess you could say identities of like my chat members or the subscribers of my channel at times. Like there are some people who I could swear were women that turned out to be like guys. There are some people who I could swear were guys that turned out to be women. Like there are some people here that like I only discovered very recently are black apparently. Like I don't know. It's a bit like you guys are full of surprises. I guess it's the best way to describe this because I'll be honest. At first, I thought Mouvelea was a woman. Then I had the impression that she was a guy. Apparently, she actually is a girl. So my first thought was correct. Anyway, moving on.
Like you expect Vikings to be, but also, if you're a brutal jerk, he shows you some level of respect. Also, kind of how Vikings are portrayed as noble, sometimes. Then you got Jack Frost, who appears to be a mascot in the previous world. I guess the collective awareness of his existence as a mascot makes him manifest as a demon in the Vortex world. I want to point out this means a certain someone's dimensional merge prophecy comes true in Nocturne, and you'd see fictitious characters running around if this were to happen in real life. Hell, probably anyone relevant enough to get a Wikipedia page might manifest as a demon in the Vortex world. It wouldn't really be the person itself, but a living caricature based off of the collective consciousness's perception of them. You could also interpret demons as beings that exist outside what we understand as reality, but find ways to manifest in it through influencing humans. So when a bunch of Scandinavian men get cold enough, knowledge of Thor consistently manifests among their thoughts, which
The iconic Jack Frost. It's quite interesting because like I'm pretty sure like SMT has like various Jacks, right? So much that there's a whole game called Jack Bros. So we have like Jack the Ripper, we have Pyro Jack, we have Jack Frost. But from what I understand, like only Jack Frost became kind of this recognizable mascot, you know? So it's just quite interesting because they're all like kind of characters that you can tell were made to be mascots, like easily recognizable like mascots, right? But only one of them like ended up panning out, which I don't know. I just think this is interesting.
makes them start acting like Vikings, and the emotional energy expelled from the Viking activities powers Thor. He then uses power during one of these transitionary vortex world states to manifest physically and try to bring about a new world that he'd have an easier time influencing, so one filled with very cold Scandinavians. Worlds with lots of promiscuity would be favorable to the succubi-like demons, and drinking and driving would be favorable to Dionysus and that guy who looks like a mix between the Istanbul music video and the Fad Freakers from Ed, Edd n Eddy.
Okay, this seems to be okay. Like I'm going to have to. I was trying to ignore it before because it didn't like seem to be too much of an issue, but it's starting to like bother other people. So I'm going to ask both of you like both Pro Dilettante and Movelea, like if you want to have this discussion, do as a Fisher said, and like I don't know, share like Discord DMs or Twitter DMs or whatever, and continue it there. But like I'm going to really have to ask you guys to stop this discussion in the comment section of this video. It's bothering other people. Mada? Do you actually mean Mada, Evil Bookman, or do you mean like Mara? Because I have different responses, like depending on what you mean.
This second interpretation would mean most, if not all, cartoon characters are demons that have manifested in our world using showrunners and cartoonists as an entry point. Later, mass media is a way to spread their influence and gain additional power from the emotional reactions and attacks.
Yes, so I just straight up don't know the guy on screen. Oh, okay, okay. So the only reason I like remember this guy, honestly, I didn't even remember his name, right? The name of that demon. I only remembered him, like his image, because like he's a really annoying boss in Nocturne. Like that dude was really wasn't even like necessarily difficult. He was just annoying to fight, frankly. What exactly are you referring to, Muvalea? Like, what exactly are you addressing?
Attachments they create. The writers may have intended something close to one or a combination of my interpretations of what Nocturne demons are supposed to be, or I may have missed an in-game explanation because I'm not good at reading. I'm just projecting some kind of undiagnosed mental illness onto a digital board game. Don't know if it needs to be said, but the demons in the SMT series look.
Also, like, I also maybe some people who are more familiar with the series, like, can chime in and kind of clarify things. But I also have no idea, like, what the in lore, I guess, origin of the SMT demons is is supposed to like be. So any of his explanations may as well be canon to me, you know. Depends on what you mean, like pro dilettante. Like, because are you comparing like SMT3 like Nocturne to something like SMT5, or are you comparing it to like Persona? Like it depends, like based on what exactly you're talking about. Or you know, like just follow the advice of someone who is way more knowledgeable at this, like Evil Bookman. Like that's probably better. There's someone who said that art is manifesting like an extent uh extra universal beings in the form. Okay, there's someone who said that art is manifesting like extra universal beings in the form of drawings and writing. uh I don't know about like Alan Moore talking about this. Like he was referring to the like a whole thing that like to the whole like deranged thoughts of like Christian when he was talking about like art manifesting physically in the real world. So uh yeah, I just can't add to that, but thanks for clarifying. Okay. Now, I didn't expect anyone reacting to this video of all things. I mean, like, I don't like reacting to like what everyone else is reacting. Like, this is supposed to be like obscure anime. Imagine if I just reacted to like Fleekazoid or like the Internet Historian or pretty much what everyone else reacts to. No, I want to react to different stuff, stuff that interests me. You know. Yeah, that I can attest to. Like, hard mode in like Nocturne is not actually hard mode. It's just like more grindy and more frustrating mode. So yeah, I also would not recommend you play it unless you're like some kind of masochist. You know.
Look amazing. The designs and general style get across this vibe that's both mystic and alien. It's perfect for depicting mythology and biblical imagery. Hiring the Thin Man from XCOM to do your art really pays off in the end. As the player, it's your goal to become powerful enough to bring about the creation of a new world. You can choose one of four.
Let me just register this. Just a sec, I want to register because someone recommended a channel to me, and I always like to register those so that I can like check them out later in my free time. You know? Okay, let's continue.
Four reasons, which are guiding philosophies or visions of how the new world should be. Tech CEO Man is already hard at work doing the typical Tech CEO Man move of conspiring with esoteric dark gods to bring about a world of domesticated men, working as cogs in a greater machine with no conflict. You can side with them, or alternatively support Might Makes Right Senator Armstrongism, bro, what if we just all left each other aloneism, or I said no to everyone to see what happens ism. Outside of the intro, the game's very gamey and lonely. There's the occasional ghost or demon standing around to talk to, and you should, since they give you hints on where to go next, but don't expect a gaggle of friends to banter with like Persona. Your aim is to urban explore, fight
Honestly, this was an aspect that like really disappointed me personally about Nocturne. Now, this isn't like something. This isn't a criticism of the game. It's just one of those things where like your expectations kind of change how you view media, you know? Because what happens is that people kept like hyping up Nocturne as this game that makes you feel very lonely. So I expected something along the lines of like Silent Hill or like my favorite game, like Altered Beast Remake, right? I expected to actually feel really lonely. I expected it to be pretty much no NPCs outside of cutscenes, and for the cutscenes to be very rare. But I didn't feel lonely at all. Like, there are pretty much NPCs sprinkled around everywhere that you can talk to. Like, I never felt alone. There was always some kind of spirit to talk to, or some merchant, or like a friendly demon, or whatever, you know? So, this aspect of the game, like, really disappointed me. Again, not because it's an actually bad thing, it works within the game structure. It's just that, given how people advertised, I expected something a bit different, you know? Human and True Demon are the only good endings, in my honest opinion. Human is the one where you just like give the keys to humanity and they like make their own fate. Or like, am I remembering something like different? Maybe they were lonely because they wanted party banter. Yeah, that's probably like what they meant by that. But when I heard lonely, I felt like I had this idea that I was going to feel like really lonely. Like, again, like I would walk around that there'd be no one to talk to, and I feel this oppressive atmosphere. No, the whole game has no oppressive atmosphere. You pretty much feel like an action character with how epic the music is, and there are tons of people to talk to. So Again, I didn't really feel lonely at all. Which one do you like more, Obscure? You're going to have to elaborate on that. Like, what are you talking about? Which one out of what? Human is the one where you return the world to preconception. Sometimes it's called escape. Oh, so it's exactly the one I was thinking of. Okay, okay.
Demons, recruit and staple them together into stronger demons, so you can then fight increasingly difficult bosses as they progress to weirder places to explore and stronger demons to recruit. Random battles are enabled almost everywhere and are frequent.
Look at this. No, pay attention. Pay attention to this shit.
This is annoying at times, but you have to internalize that the battles aren't interrupting you from progressing to content. The battles are the content.
Like, this is so bullshit, man. Like, sometimes when I played Nocturne, I'd be walking and like he said, like it varies a lot. So sometimes I would like want to fight because I want to grind or because I want to collect some demons for like the fusion system he's going to talk about later. And like I would walk around for like ages with no enemies appearing, and sometimes I just want to get to point A, like from point A to point B, and like every few steps there's like some really obnoxious hard enemy that like forces me to engage in battle with them. And sometimes I'm so drained of resources that I can't even advance to from point A to point B. I have to return to point C to restock only for that bullshit to happen again. You know? Just let me advance. Fuck's sake. So yeah, this is a pretty annoying part of the game. No, there's not a step counter. Like it's random. Sometimes you can like I said, in walk around for ages without bumping into enemies, and sometimes like you can't even take like a step before like someone assaults you, you know. Anyway, I feel lonely while playing Doom. I want to slay demons with Freerun. There are mods for that. Which path or ending do you like more? I prefer the um I prefer the human ending that Evil Bookman described, but I generally go for the true demon ending just because, like, there's more content there, you know? The step counter is annoying, that's why there's spells to modulate it. No, there is no actual step counter. Did you know that if you're strong enough, Estoma actually turns off encounters and Ribarama can chain battles? Didn't know that. Pretty cool. The new remastered SMT games are more on visible enemies that you can choose to fight. And yeah, that's like I really vastly prefer that system. Like even if the enemies are difficult to escape from, like I always prefer the choice to see the enemies roaming around and be able to escape from them than like random stuff, because especially with the way Nocturne implements it, right? Because yeah, not feeling like you can't even like go from point A to point B unmolested is like is really frustrating. It is a step counter, it's just set to random counters before each color change. Some areas have low step count ranges. Yep, I knew you were going to say that. Most people play True Demon for the content. Honestly, sometimes I prefer random enemy attacks. Interesting. Like, I think you already talked about this, but like, why do you sometimes prefer the random enemies? Do you have a favorite Nocturne OST? Ikebukuro. Definitely Ikebukuro. Oh my god, Ikebukuro is so good. I can't play it here because of obvious like reasons, but like search for that like Nocturne OST. It's amazing. I wish Pierce would work for Magic. Yes, I know it has mods, but still. Okay. Honestly, I have no idea why they don't have, like, maybe they have like a actual like a reason for that, but I can't figure out why they don't have like a Magic version of Pierce. Like you do really make a good point, Flutter Dark. Like, why isn't there like a Magic Pierce or something like that? Yeah, it's annoying, but at the same time, it lost the on the edge feeling. Oh, okay, because you like being like feeling nervous or about like, oh, when is the enemy like going to attack? Like, when is the enemy going to attack next? Is it going to be like a few feet from now, or do I have time to like heal? Like that kind of tension, I can understand being appealing to some people. Have you played Shin Megami Tensei 5? Hell no. Like, do you know how expensive that shit is? Like, do you know how expensive like most AAA games are? Hell no. I like a game really needs to like have a damn good reason to make me pay so much money. Like 40 what I'm going to talk about is going to sound crazy to you guys, but $40, like paying $40 for one game is already like way too much for me. Like any game that asks me to pay like $60, like you really have to offer something else like to make it valuable for me. Anyway, can't sleep, Zoinks. I'm a Dan Martian man with iron ass, unintelligible. Can you hear then, God? Given that Pierce is given has you lock into TDE, it just makes sense to me, simply because Lucifer has 75% resist to everything. Boss team is so dumb it's good. Like in DDS, it fits the world and makes sense. It's actually just Microsoft Sand through a filter. Key sites, but yeah, game prices be expensive. I played SMT5. Lol, pardon me. I really love the game. No, like I don't like. I understand why people pay like $60 for games because it feels like a good deal for them. Like it's a game that they really like or that they feel like they can really like, and so like it makes sense for them to like pay that amount of money, but to me it just doesn't because like I really just love money way too much. Like I'll be real with you. Like it takes a really good reason for me to part with my money, you know. But anyway, Brazilian money, that's a factor too. It felt underbaked. I still need to finish it. Have you played Vengeance? Okay. I actually waited for a sale. It's what I do too. Like if a like expensive game really like grabs my interest, like for example, Atelier Ryza, right? Atelier Ryza really grabbed my interest, but I really was not a fan of the price. So I did like you said, and I waited for a sale. You know. So yeah, I generally use that strategy too. This is going to be the longest reaction. Oh my god, I keep getting so distracted. I'm so sorry.
And luckily the combat is fun. While I could hypothetically play 5 instances of Pokemon at once, Nocturne required not only my full attention, but also reclaiming and utilizing the part of my brain previously dedicated to my screaming pony Orb-Tulpa. It's turn-based JRPG fights. However, it's given depth by the press turn system. Critical hits and exploiting weaknesses will give you more moves in your team's turn. On the flip side, missing an attack or using a damage type that's voided by an enemy will waste not only the move you were just using, but an additional one after. And it gets worse. If the enemy reflects or absorbs the damage type you use, that is it. All of your moves check out and it flops to the enemy's turn.
Goodbye.
What's important to know is these rules work both ways, and no demon, no matter how strong, is immune from them. This is a good thing, since a lot of these pricks have moves that give them more moves. It was very weird being on this side of the wishing for more wishes conundrum, but just like a genie, all it takes is for them to word one of these wishes poorly for you to get the green light to teleport them to the live leak dimension, and see them consumed by the escalator of your superior long-term planning skills. There are no Pokeballs.
How to like gun clock in this game? You can't. Like that's not how this works. You can't gun clock in Nocturne.
Was a Nocturne. To recruit demons, you'll have to convince them verbally to join you. To do this, you have to actually employ pickup artist strategies. Demons will ask for a series of items and direct cash payments. If you say yes to all of these, they will typically call you a cringe lord and demanifest. You have to say no to some of these requests or they will not respect you. It requires approaching conversation like a total neurotic. Once you've piqued their interest though, they'll ask you a
I think this is one of the things you like this is one of the things that Pro Dilettante was like referring to when he was talking about like quality of life features. Because yeah, in like more modern SMT games, you pretty much just need to talk to the demon, and if you get to the phase where they ask you for stuff, you pretty much already won. Like if you give them the stuff that they want, like they are guaranteed to join your team. Whereas with like older SMT titles, like you really, it's just a gamble. You need to talk to like the enemy and you need to fulfill some of their requests, but not all of them. You need to like answer some philosophical questions. You need to go through a whole song and dance, and then they might just decide, I just don't feel like it. And so, yeah, that's definitely one of the things you have to get used to, this kind of bullshit, when you go back to like older SMT games. Not even that old, like even SMT4 and 4 Apocalypse like have this bullshit as well, you know? It's more accurate to say that like newer titles don't have it, instead of saying that the older titles do.
philosophical question, like, is weakness evil? Are plants' lives more desirable than animals? Or do you want the nuts? It can be hard to determine what a demon wants to hear. All you really have to go on is how they look and what they talk like. If you guess right, you got a new party member. Your main character, who's always in your party, and also who you'd lose if dies, has a generic recruitment ability. Demons can learn special negotiation skills. Similar to how attacks have damage types that are stronger or weaker, depending on the target, negotiation skills are more or less effective depending on the target's personality. Seduce will work best when a young female demon is using it against a lughead. And just like in real life, kidnap is strong against child. Talking to demons is a very big part of the game. Outside of recruitment, there are skills to ask.
What you're saying is pretty interesting, Fisher. I haven't played the game, but I at least like watched the story on YouTube. And like the story seemed pretty like good to me. Like obviously law is law, so like law is just a meme in SMT. Like law endings are pretty much always the worst, but at least chaos and like the more neutral paths, I think offered some interesting like arguments as for the creation of a world without demons and a world where demons and humans coexist, you know? So it's quite interesting to hear like such an opposing opinion from you, Fisher, that you really didn't like any of the arguments of any of the characters. Same, I actually felt used by the Amatsukami. And apparently Pro Dilettante agrees. Every reason in Nocturne is a low ending because it's what Yahweh set up. Oi, oi. That's not how that works.
For items, money. Sometimes instead of attacking, enemies will just walk up to you and ask for a stick of gum. At one point in the game, I had a floating skull come up to me with a snake coming out of its eye. It asked me for some demon skittles or something, and in return, it gave me some game tips. The catch was it spoke in Shakespearean English and I could not discern what it was trying to say at all. When the talking sun is at its brightest,
No, I said that they didn't give me a strong one. Oh, so like you don't think that necessarily the reasons are bad, they just weren't like convincing enough for you. Ah, okay, okay.
demons don't handle it super great. During this time, they have severely impaired judgment, which makes it the perfect opportunity to get them to agree to permanent life-altering decisions. If you keep asking during this time, they will eventually make a noise that sounds similar to yes. That is all it takes to become friends for life, or at least friends until they stop being useful. Your main character will level at a pretty respectable rate. Your demons won't. When your party members become impotent, either from falling behind in levels or because the current boss you're fighting is strong against them, it's time to take him out behind the shed. And that is where the real fun begins. Fusion is the system that enables you to become stupid powerful. Your enjoyment of the game hinges largely on learning and utilizing this system, which can take some time. At a base level, you take two underlevel demons, staple them together, and you get a new one that's closer to your level, also transferring over some of the skills from the older demons. Demons created with basic fusion are a little underwhelming, mostly because they lack their unlockable skills.
Another thing I like to mention is this fucking thing. Like these Lilling demons. Like I really wanted one of them on my team for obvious reasons when I played Nocturne. But like they refused, like outright refused, right, to like enter my team. Like I was pretty much the demon whisperer, okay? I pretty much got into like a role where I convinced pretty much any demon that I came into contact with to like join my team. I could like get succubi on my team. I could get like sudamas on my team. I could get like those weird like spear guys on my team. I was the demon whisperer. But these bitches, they would not enter my team to save their lives, okay? They really like just did not want me, like specifically for some reason. And I don't know why. Anyway, Daisojo plus Makatora is such a good combo. Infinite MP for the team. Yeah, that is just silly. Do you have any favorite demons? A lot of people talk about that combo in Nocturne. I'll trust you. Okay. Quite extreme of you there in A Fisher, but okay. Yeah, Demoneho. That's so funny. Oh god, I have a lot of unfinished games. Don't we all? What was I going to talk about again? Whatever, let's continue.
Demons. Demons created with basic fusion are a little underwhelming, mostly because they lack their unlockable skills, which tend to be their best skills. To get these unlocked, you'll have to level them, which can take hours if done through grinding. Sacrificial fusion is weird. Fuse two demons to make a new one like normal, but a third demon can be sacrificed along with them. Sacrifice demons have some of their skills transferred, but most importantly, the XP they earn throughout their life is transferred over to the new demon on a 1.5 multiplier, and it gets dumber. The new demon produced can then be sacrificed instantly, and the XP they gain from the previous sacrifice is immediately transferred over to the new demon, again on a 1.5 multiplier. If this sounds confusing, it is, but once you get the hang of it, sacrificing just becomes
Actually, I actually you got me curious, A Fish. Are you in like Digital Devil Saga like 1, or are you already in 2? Like, do you still need to finish the first game, or like are you already on the second one? Digital Devil Saga. I haven't played that one either, so I can't say. What I will say is that like the whole system of like devouring like demons like in order to like master particular sets of skills. It seems pretty interesting, and otherwise the gameplay like seems very similar to Nocturne. Like outside the fact that you obviously can't recruit demons, you have a set party of like demons on your team that you can use. Uh, and the story is superb. I haven't played them, so I can't really recommend or not recommend them. But like again, I've seen the story on YouTube, and like at least from what I've seen of the gameplay, it looks interesting. So that's what I can say. Uh, The Pisaka from the first Kelpa is stupidly powerful for sacrificing. It gains EXP outside of the active party, has Estoma and Riberama and Trafuri, and in general is just really good to register and sacrifice over and over again as you go on. I'll be honest, I really liked that demon, so I just kept him like for as long as possible during my playthrough. Like, because I saw that demon, I thought, it doesn't look too good. Then I saw like the skills and I was like, what? And like I just kept using him. Like he was really too fun to either sacrifice or fuse for me, at least. I know I know that's absolutely not ideal, but I just couldn't. I couldn't bring myself to. 1. I'm almost at the end, but I want to battle the secret bosses so I can fight the demi fiend. Oh, so like your journey will be definitely very long and painful. Though you're probably already aware of that. Yes, that's why he's so cool.
Becomes printing XP. Hours of grinding turn into 4 seconds of impaling fairies. You can get demons to learn all their skills, then take the dumbest fringe skills off those demons, and move them over to demons that shouldn't have them. Mix this with the compendium which lets you make save states of your demon and buy them back later. With a little bit of experimentation, you'll be making squads of unkillable gods who can fire true damage nukes for free every battle. All the SMT games I've played have their meme song. You know, the catchy earworm you hear 100 times in your playthrough. Persona 3 has. Persona 5 has.
You never see it coming.
And Nocturne's no exception. If you find people talking about Nocturne or mainline SMT in general on the internet, you'll pretty often see a certain phrase spammed in all caps. It's over the top and silly, but it's very fitting. More fitting than any other SMT meme song. You know, despite how many times they say it and how often it's said, there really are not that many babies in Persona 3. Combat in Persona 5 is turn-based, so the enemies do in fact see it coming. But when you get totally thrashed by a seemingly impossible boss, spend 2 hours creating Frankenstein monsters made specifically to counter it, rematch, and see the previously godlike being now pathetic and unable to do anything without healing your team or hurting itself. When you see this esoteric ancient deity trapped in a metaphorical circle of whoopee cushions, totally unable to react to you and your friends slapping him to death, the feeling you get is perfectly encapsulated by
One more god rejected! Hell yeah. That's exactly what I thought when like I first beat Matador. Fucking like get fucked, idiot. Anyway, I kind of rethink if I should go with this or just finish the game already. No. Like it's very painful, but it's like if you can endure it, like it's plenty rewarding. So I definitely think that if you're up for it, you really should continue like fighting the secret bosses and eventually like the demi fiend. Again, your journey will not be a pleasant one, but it will be very rewarding at the end. Anyway, let's move on to the next video.
While SMT and Pokemon are clearly different games, trying to do different things and appeal to different audiences, I think it's pretty reasonable to draw comparisons. They're both part of the RPG where you make friends out of hostile NPCs subgenre, with one being more or less the grandfather of the genre and the other being the undisputed most popular. But
By the way, can I randomly suggest Lyrical Nanohana for a first impression segment? I kind of stopped doing those, but like if you really want to, like, sure, I can do it.
But more importantly, growing up with Pokemon, like everyone else, it's been my only real baseline for a series like SMT. And now going deeper into the Tensei series past just Persona, I keep finding things that SMT did and continues to do that I always used to wish.
A minimum of 3. Like, I do plan to watch both, because this guy made reviews for 3 SMT games, like Nocturne, Devil Survivor, and 4. And I plan to watch all of them. And like, if we have time, even like a 4th one, if I can. But those are the 3 I plan to watch today. Good thing there are guides for them. Dude, I'll be honest. There are some games out there that I just have to play with the guide at all times. You know, like when I used to play FGO, I like the events were already long enough if you use the guide. It's just so you have an idea. So I would never like do any events in FGO without the guide. So I totally get what you like. What you're going through, A Fisher. Like some games you really just it just feels like really bad to play without the guide. Like I know a lot of people are going to call me like a cringe, like casual, but like nah. I have better things to do. I rather just play the fun parts of the game, like instead of dealing with this bullshit, you know. At school watching OA again. Welcome to the String Armor. And let's continue.
Wish Pokemon would attempt.
And yeah,
SMT has a
are
billion
pretty great.
spin-offs that experiment with the mainline formula. What if the game wasn't set in a post-apocalypse? What if you didn't recruit demons at all? What if the combat was in real time? What if you had to manage limited time and strike a balance between dungeon crawling and life as a high schooler? Meanwhile, Pokemon asks, do you have any slurs you'd like to tell Pikachu? There are a lot of Pokemon spin-offs, but they're rarely alternative takes on the mainline Pokemon RPG formula. Usually like racing games or puzzle games, borderline experimental shovelware, or a pay-to-win MOBA. You don't really get a whole lot of games where you acquire and battle Pokemon outside of the extremely stale main series. The series has gotten some spin-offs in the past, but Conquest and the long-running Mystery Dungeon side series are both crossovers where an already existing IP got a Pokemon facelift. Colosseum and its sequel, on the other hand, are more or less the exact kind of spin-offs that play with the main formula that I'm talking about. Too bad they only made 2. People must have taken one look at Gale of Darkness, exited, and walked away. We are only just now getting Pokemon Legends, the first proper RPG sub-series made by Game Freak, the mainline devs, where they actually play around with the formula. Meanwhile, Megami Tensei has been constantly stretching, playing.
I mean, like barely, but like I guess anything is an improvement. Like over like whatever ungodly monstrosity like of like dubious quality. Well, not dubious, like outright like lack of quality new Pokemon is producing, you know? Anyways, welcome to the String Armor, but yeah, like do whatever you want. I'm not your dad, but like if you're not going to pay attention to class, like I don't know, at least study at home so you don't like get an F because of me, okay? Like I'll be happy with just that.
Playing with its formula, taking the base game, remaking it in as many ways.
Errou. Primeiro Mystery Dungeon foi o Torneco. Bem-vindo à live, Genérico Jerônimo. E tipo, a Lei Felca realmente começou a me afetar agora. Não o canal, com sorte, mas eles fuderam com o meu Twitter também. Enfim.
As it possibly can. You're spoiled for choices. The spin-offs have spin-offs. I can't even read this list without my eyes defocusing. They even make the stupid shovelware games if you're into that. There's no Hey You Jack Frost though, probably because he would yell his slurs back. Anyway, after Nocturne, I thought it'd be nice if I tried another Tensei spin-off that wasn't Persona to get some more perspective on the series. You've got a very limited amount of this is like Personas that you can perform without anamorphing into an IGN writer. It didn't take very long for me to see the turn-based tactics one where you move on a grid. I suffer from the condition known as liking XCOM, so I decided to give it a try. Devil Survivor is a tactics RPG that's split between
Oi, pro diletante, like, sure, like you can not like school all you want, but you still like have to go to it. It's still important, okay? No, don't fill Arma's head with like bad messages, okay?
combat encounters where you control up to 4 squads at once, and
I love my teacher, and apparently he disagrees with you. Anyway, lol.
choose your own adventure VN with some time management and route selection elements. Overall, I thought the game was fairly good. The time management
Porra, pelo menos o VPN tá funcionando pra você. Infelizmente, estamos num ambiente público, então eu não sei se admitir isso seria exatamente inteligente, mas, tipo... eu só, infelizmente, não posso falar disso numa live pública como essa, só não é uma boa ideia. Então, eu não vou poder responder sua pergunta, ok? Sinto muito. But speaking of, like, tactics RPGs, right? Like an XCOM. There's these games, like, I bought a good while ago, right? Called Valkyria Chronicles. And I plan on playing them at some point for the channel. Like, I would do that, like, in my own time, whenever, like, I find, like, a good excuse to, right? But, I want to know, like, what do you guys think about it? Like, are you fans of Valkyria Chronicles? Have you heard of it? And if so, like, are you, like, excited to see me play it? I'm going to throw that question out there. You better, pro dilettante. You fucking better. I'm watching you. School would be good if they got rid of one of the main gimmicks. Grades are not a gimmick, Karma.
stuff wasn't exactly what I was hoping it would be. Lack of exploration made the game world feel a little bit shallow, but the game's combat and roster building made up for it. Similar to mainline SMT, you're given a pretty big toolbox to make your teams with, but there's a
I have the first one and the fourth one. I have the ones that are available on Steam. Like, I plan to play, like, both of them.
lot of new moving parts that play into the squad system and other new mechanics introduced in Devil Survivor. You're also presented with some really tough fights that require you to have a fairly good understanding of the game's mechanics to clear. It should be said and stressed that this is not a good entry point for the series. It's brutal. If you don't already know how SMT combat and demon fusion works, you're gonna get destroyed. Like all the other Mega 10 games I've played so far, Devil Survivor has you playing as a high schooler. After a brief opening scene that cuts between some vague hints at the instigating events of the plot and some ominous epic speak text, you're introduced to your player character and two classmates. Atsuro, whose name I read as Astro up until just now, and who's a dorky hacker. I want to push the power button on his hat. And then there's Yuzu. Her character is that she's scared and wants to go home, and she texts like she owns a Gur hoodie. The plot starts with
frequent like complaints that people have, like usual SMT fans have about Devil Survivor is actually the art style, because they say that like the female characters in general, and especially their boobs, look like really weird in like Devil Survivor's art style. But what do you guys think? Well, think about it. Grades make everything you do an extrinsic motivator, so you're forced to be pragmatic. So you pick the shortest book and the easiest project. This is like actually a very interesting discussion, though unfortunately not one that I think is appropriate for like a silly anime channel. Again, your points are pretty good, but like I really I really just don't think it's a good idea for me to like addressed then, you know? Don't think this is a good discussion for like the obscure anime channel is what I mean.
With you and your friends being called together by your reptilian cousin. He doesn't show up to the actual playdate, but he does hand you 3 Nintendo DS's before slithering under a rock prior to you 3 meeting. Upon inspection, Atsuro informs you that the DS's are cracked and running a homebrew operating system. Throughout the
Oh, hello, welcome to the stream, Prin. Yeah, I was talking about like if any of you guys liked Devil Survivor's art style and especially how they draw woman. No, you don't need to apologize, it's fine. Laugh track. Again, you just need to like study at some point. Like if you don't want to pay attention to class, at least like study at home. Like just don't completely disregard the subject to watch me. You know, that's all I'm saying. Like actually do value your time at school. That's all. Maybe out of nowhere, but does anyone think like there's a bit of a weird difference between OG and remaster of Raido game? Unfortunately, I'm not familiar enough with the Raido games to comment on that, A Fisher.
day, you learn that it's able to tell the future, correctly predicting someone getting mauled in their apartment 30 minutes before it happens. That's not all. Its primary function is to download and summon demons from the Devil's Plex server, allowing you to bid on demons auctioning themselves off and fuse them together to make stronger demons. Sort of in the middle of drip feeding how the DS's work, the game introduces you to the
Shomonkai
cult. They're like a doomsday cult, and their whole pitch is that in Genesis, God directly intervened when the people of the world united came together to construct the Tower of Babel in an attempt to reach heaven. God stopped this by causing everyone to begin speaking different languages and scatter across the world. The cult believes that the internet checks enough of the same boxes as the construction of a tower, connecting all the world's people and allowing them to freely communicate. You're told that because of this interconnectivity, as well as mankind's arrogance, God will once again cast judgment on us. The game
I hadn't even thought about that, but yeah, it does have that vibe, Pro Dilettante. But yeah, like this overall is just a really cool premise for like a game, like relating, especially with how connected to like religion. SMT has a series already is like to connect it to such an important Bible story, like and kind of reinterpret it for the modern world. Like that makes for a really interesting premise. Like I really like Devil Survivor's like premise in that sense.
game goes more into the relevance of the internet later. The details of what it says are a little spoilery, but like barely. But I also saw it coming and I want to talk about it. I'll be vague. But in a hypothetical situation where you have beings born and fed by energy generated from human emotion, base impulses, and obsessions.
Yeah, Generico, they never do this today. Like that was definitely like a very interesting time that we're never going to see again, unfortunately.
The internet would be a central breeding ground for them. The internet is more or less the raw material that makes demons in settings like SMT. It's called Magnetite Megaten, and in Warhammer, which has very similar demons, they call it the Winds of Magic. Why do you think they call it an installation wizard?
Important. Brother, it isn't even top 10. You know what I mean, Armor. Like, stop being pedantic.
Anyway, the prologue wraps up with 2 more of the DS's predictions of the future coming true, with an explosion of unknown origin igniting in the distance, followed by a total blackout of the whole Tokyo area. All of this happening while it becomes evident that there's demons running around on the loose terrorizing people. The 3 protagonists, stranded from their homes, sleep in a cemetery and wake up to find they're trapped in a military lockdown spanning over a large part of Tokyo. What's even worse is that their DS's have a new batch of predictions, one being that they're going to be killed by a snowman in a few hours.
Happy birthday!
From that point on, the story breaks into a series of simultaneous subplots involving a cast of characters who are all stuck in the lockdown with you. There's an indie rock singer and her bodyguard, an elementary school nurse, a middle school buddy of Atsuro's, a cosplayer with an orc tooth, 2 Spec Ops members, a Weiji, a gang leader, a journalist, a couple of named cult members, and your snake-faced cousin. Everyone's always running around doing their own thing throughout the game, often crossing paths with one another. How you decide to spend your limited time determines what you'll witness and learn, and also what events do and don't happen as you intervene in side stories or they play out while you're not around. Subplots including, why is the military keeping us here? Where are the demons coming from? What's the cult's deal? Are vampires real? And is one in here with us right now? Are you a vampire? What's your cousin doing? Why is his face like that? Why is my cell phone getting warmer? It's a pretty unique story, and it's delivered in a pretty unique way. The inclusion of the lockdown as a central plot point has led some people to draw comparisons to recent real-life occurrences, but I think that's a stretch. Like, elephant in the room, where's the demons? Those clown manifestations have...
Okay, he's going to go like on a really schizo rant right now, so I'll use the opportunity to address like some comments. The only thing I don't like to I don't seem to like as much is the music. Have you played the series? I haven't. I haven't either. Sorry. Again, I'm just going off of like my impressions of it. Okay. Like in OG at the beginning when you passed the test, there was no celebration. Just like, okay, go to capital. Very strict. But in remaster, you're getting glazed because wow, you can control 2 demons at once. And I think it's because the quality of life in remaster specifically, like they already like go to ride those choose mechanics. Like taking some of the quality of life from a future game and putting it on a previous game, like in a remaster, I don't think is that big a deal. Like obviously it can kill a bit of the charm, especially if the limitations like cause exactly what caused the game to be so beloved. But in general, I don't think it's a big deal. But like it's the changes to the story that you mentioned that are the reason why I really one of the reasons why I really just don't like these kinds of like re-releases of like old games that change them in any way. It doesn't even need to be like a remake or a remaster. Like any release of a game that changes like elements of the story, the designs, etc. I really just don't like. And with how prevalent this is becoming, is making me just really hate the practice in general. And just like no, I can't say that. Like I can't say that on YouTube. We're going to have to stop there. Imagine some poor iPad kid having a demon in cap. That would be pretty funny, yeah. Well, I have to finish both of them to have a completed opinion. Okay. Today, even at the time, it was crazy, but let's not talk about that time they made a game on the GBA about kids helping us. I feel like I shouldn't address that, honestly.
happened way back in 2016. That's old news, and those were Nephilim. That's only half demon. Something like the launch of Warhammer 3 doesn't count either, despite its demonic theming. It's just a single video game release, and it's only now coming out, while the relevant world events have been going on for years now. The plot of Devil Survivor involves a demonic invasion. Was there anything in the time between the second half of 2019 and now that seems all that demonic to you? Was there anything during that time that everyone was stuck inside that presented itself as a spirit or deity that fed on the mass human emotion and obsession found on the internet, maybe trying to influence people into establishing and joining cults to them? Like the one in the game where they have their own symbol, that lotus flower star.
But I'm kind of worried that the remaster would go the FF7 rebirth route. I really hope it doesn't. Like, Jesus Christ, that was terrible. Good opinion, but sometimes old systems suck ass. Also, these games are too niche for me. I must go back to my mainstream. Anyway, let's not address the devil children in the room. Fucking again, no, I'm not getting cancelled today. Like just like Pro Dilettante said, I'm dodging that shit like the plague. But one thing that I wanted to talk about in regards to Warhammer specifically, and this like gives like a good kind of segue to that. like what's happening in the Warhammer community now is very interesting because we often discuss like the anime community being invaded by normies and like the whole like tourist things and gatekeeping, etc. But what's happening in the Warhammer community is pretty interesting because a lot of the OG fans are complaining that there are lots of weebs joining like Warhammer these days. Like it's kind of the opposite effect where like a lot of VTubers started like becoming more interested in Warhammer, and obviously, with that, so did their communities. And so there are lots of weebs joining the Warhammer community right now, and they're kind of like altering the fandom. They don't have too much of an influence in the actual like lore still, but they've been affecting heavily like the fandom side of things, right? Uh, so much so that like if you interact with the Warhammer fandom these days, like you might get the impression that, for example, some you might get some really like uh inaccurate impressions about Warhammer's world. Like if you consume it exclusively to like fanon, you might think that the humans and the Drakari and the Tau are all in a big alliance with each other, which is obviously like not the case. Like there are no such alliances in Warhammer 40k. Uh like there's been like a really big surge of waifu culture in Warhammer these days as well. Like you see like more and more like art and comics and stuff pretty much treating like turning every single alien species and the chaos gods and like pretty much whatever you can imagine into like some sort of waifu, right? uh and like you might think that the human army is a lot more diverse than it genuinely is in Warhammer. And I'm not talking about stuff like a woman being there or black people. No, like if you consume the fanon, you might think that like the Imperium of Man, like regularly employs like mutants, right? When that obviously is not the case. Like the Imperium doesn't even treat mutants like as cannon fodder. No, they just dispose of them like uh, execution style. And to some extent, you can say that about pretty much anything. Like obviously, you shouldn't get uh your primary source of information from any fandom about anything, but like it really is interesting to see how the Warhammer fandom is like going through a change. Like it's being invaded by the weebs and like going through a weebification, like with a lot of like waifu culture being inserted and stuff like that. And like it's interesting to see how much it's pissing off the like OG Warhammer fans, because like it goes to show that the process can go both ways. That's why this is so interesting to me. Also worry for future remasters of SMT games like DDS, for example. I really wish they just wouldn't, honestly. Like again, with the kind of bullshit they're pulling for like with like remasters and stuff like that. Like I really wish they wouldn't do that. For now, it's been mostly okay-ish. Like their remasters aren't that like egregious from what I've seen, but yeah, I definitely worry enough that I do not wish them to remaster pretty much anything anymore. Oh yeah, I've seen it, lol. But it has been a long time they have been fighting the weebs. Because of weebs in Warhammer, they are gunifying it. Are they terrorists? Maybe, but at the same time, I don't mind. I know, right? The battle, Sisters of Battle art, Sisters of Battle, like the Drakari, the Tau, like there's so much like Liu Tau art, right? And like even the fucking Necrons and the Tyranids have been turned into waifus, man. It's really just a complete fucking anarchy there. Like for some reason they put fucking cat girls in the Imperium of Man. Like why? Anyway. Goonification law, obscure. The same thing happened to Fire Emblem, but Fire Emblem was always like anime. A lot of people like cope about it, but it's just that like Fire Emblem evolved with the evolution of anime. The reason like that the older games, the older Fire Emblem games look so different is because anime was different by the time they were made. And has anime like changed, so did Fire Emblem in the same direction. And so it's not that like Fire Emblem became more weeby. No, Fire Emblem was always weeby. It's just that what that meant like varied over the passage of time. You know? Rookie mistake. The fandom 85% of the time are mentally impaired, so why ever listen to them? The rest are dickheads. Just have a friend group you expand once a year out of people from that fandom. This happens with every fandom. Real men learn to adapt. I agree, honestly. I know basically nothing about Warhammer lore, but I think the weeb should go to the old world. It feels more in line with what they want. The fuck is the old world? What? Did Warhammer fans forget Rule 34 of the internet? Very important to remember. I agree. I'm on the side that likes it. Okay. Continuing on with the video, but like I'm going to continue on with the video, but yeah, that was a pretty interesting like discussion that I wanted to have, you know? Just a topic that interests me for like the reasons I already described.
Thing. That may seem like a weird detail, but icons are universal things in cults and faiths. Try to find me a religion, fictitious or real, that doesn't have one. I think that makes a pretty good list of requirements to meet, and it filters out some of the dumb stuff, like the Clowns of 16 and Warhammer 3. If you want to say Devil Survivor predicted the future, where's the demons? Frankly, I can't think of anything.
Worship me!
I know a spell that'll make you show your true form.
The icons.
Oh yeah, Chow World, let's go.
Give us Viva Pinata.
A video about Pikmin, don't mind if I do.
Sonido, fido, ando, fido.
Is all real chat.
Like I said previously,
all
the
real.
gameplay is split between a time management VN thing and tactical battles. Instead of exploring real-time environments, time between talking or fighting is spent on a menu that gives you a list of locations to check out. Exclamation marks mean you'll have to fight a battle, and locations that have a little clock icon have something going on in them that you can investigate at the cost of 30 in-game minutes. Any involved characters' portraits will appear over the area, and the option to investigate will usually be their names. Most time-consuming events are generally short, comparable to the length of a social link scene in a Persona game. You'll be seeing a lot of them, though. You pretty regularly get dialogue options, but they rarely matter. It's usually two different ways to say the same thing, which will get the same response from whoever you're talking to. There are times when your dialogue choices matter, though, so you should generally
Was that pseudo schizo clip I just watched? But it was just a joke from Power Energy about like VTubers essentially being just like our real world equivalent of the SMT demons in Devil Survivor. Because of the whole like SMT predicted the future kind of thing that they were talking about. Anyway. I don't know about that cat girl lore, like Generico Jerônimo. I have no idea what you're talking about. Gonna have to research that later. And why do you think that like Warhammer Fantasy is more like weeb friendly than like current Warhammer? Like, could you elaborate on that? I don't get it.
pay attention to what's being said and asked, but usually the more consequential decision is determining what events to show up for. Being there or not being there matters more than what you say while you're there. The game takes place over the course of about a week. Days are informally split up between mandatory battles. Each section of the day will have a selection of the available characters doing something or other, and at least one available fight to complete. It's up to you who you'll check in on, and after you meet up with enough people and spend enough time, whatever events you didn't prioritize will resolve without you, and you'll be left with only a mandatory battle blocking further progress. You go through this cycle a few times each day before passing out and waking up the next day. Each night you'll get emails from the other NPCs running around, and each morning you'll get a newsletter telling you about all the worst events that will be happening throughout the day. Most characters have a key event or two throughout the week where if you ignore them, they'll be killed. You'll usually know when someone's about to bite it though. For one, your magical DSs let you see the estimated time someone has to live in days, and two, your morning newsletter usually fills in the blanks by giving you the exact hour and a hint describing what will happen to them. Right before the endgame begins, based off who you spent time with and who survived, you'll be given a list of NPCs to choose from. Whoever you pick here will determine your ending and change up how some of the final events play out before the ending unfolds. Overall, I thought the VN side of the game was pretty good, and the narrative structure of having a bunch of stuff happening at once while forcing the player to pick and choose what to witness felt very compelling and unique to interact with. I've only really got two main complaints with the VN stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, you don't get to explore it all. The whole game is either menus or turn-based combat encounters, which doesn't really feel like enough to get across the scale of the game's setting and events. Second, while the game does telegraph when characters are going to need to be saved, it's very vague about what's going to actually happen in any of the other given events. And also, it's vague about how long the events will still be available. Some events are slice-of-life filler or vague foreshadowing, while others are major turning points in a character's arc.
Good lord, what is happening in there?
Since you're given so little information, it's hard
Yeah, my chat is just going crazy again.
to tell what you'll be dedicating your limited time to and what you'll be missing. One of the early encounters with the journalist has her telling you that people tend to act irrationally when they're forced to make uninformed decisions. And I assume that was meant to be a little meta hint that the game was trying to make you panic a little bit. That's all well and good. I don't mind having to make uninformed decisions and just see how things play out every once in a while. But the way the game's set up, instead of walking to make progress, you're trapped in a menu, and to move things forward, you're spending a limited resource without knowing what you're spending it on while the game laughs at you. I found it to be kind of exhausting. It's like every waking moment you have Dilbert in your face asking,
Ranch or Cool Ranch?
and frankly, it kind of stressed me out. Outside of
To go on another like tangent, like God, I was born old, I swear. Like when I was 10 years old, maybe like 12, like pretty much everyone was reading like Turma da Mônica, like popular comic here in Brazil, or like hero comics or like stuff like that. While me, I was fucking reading Dilbert and loving it. Like, and if you don't know what Dilbert is or why that's weird, Dilbert is literally like an office humor comic. So a lot of the jokes are based on like very frustrating situations that only happen in the workplace. It does have some more absurdist humor to it, but generally most of the humor in Dilbert is based around like, oh, isn't like corporate life terrible? And I loved it. My dad gave those comics to me when I was like 10, and like I had the time of my life with those comics. So yeah, I was fucking born old and like enjoyed Dilbert when I didn't even know like what a fucking cubicle actually was, you know. But anyway.
the VN stuff, you got your squad building and combat. Instead of random encounters, fighting in Devil Survivor is done in combat missions, split between grid-based squad navigation and a combat screen that reminds me of one of those unfitting music put over an unnerving image videos. Both layers are turn-based, but handle their turns differently. The navigation layer operates off a recovery system. The gist of this system is that while a squad is able to perform a bunch of actions every turn, like buffs, heals, movement, and attacking, the more stuff you do, the longer it'll take before you're granted another turn. Once a squad performs an attack command on an enemy, you enter the combat screen. It functions a little bit like a diet mainline battle, complete with a diet press turn system. Each instance of combat has two phases, the initial turn and the extra turn. Everyone gets to attack during the initial phase, usually. The extra turn, on the other hand, has to be earned. Access to the extra turn is earned through similar means how you'd extend your turn in mainline. Critical hits, exploiting enemy weaknesses, or being hit with an attack you resist grant you an extra turn, usually. It's either RNG based or determined by a hidden granular meter. Also, unlike mainline, you can also smack the extra turn out of enemies by critting them or exploiting weakness. Squads are made up of 3 members, a middle leader and 2 supporting wingmen. While the wingmen are alive, the leader takes reduced damage, but if the leader is eliminated, the squad gets disbanded instantly. This arrangement sort of mirrors how losing your MC results in a game over in most other mainline titles, except you get to be the one handing out the BS for once. Speaking of which, if your main character squad gets wiped, you're still not handed a game over right away in Devil Survivor. The catch is that each battle has a list of failure conditions, one usually being protect civilians. If just one bystander in a bystander squad gets eliminated, you're loading a save. This is fairly annoying already, but it gets worse. As the mission progresses, it's not uncommon for the objective to totally change without warning. For instance, the initial objective may send you to one side of the map to clear a squad, but right as you're done with that, someone in danger will manifest on the other side, and if you're not already there prepared for it, you lose. Whenever a goal shift like this happens, the conditions list comes back up and it changes right in front of you. This can and does happen multiple times in the same fights, and it starts feeling a bit comical after the third or fourth time. As annoying as this can feel, it's not all that unfamiliar of a mechanic to SMT. The shifting objectives make you approach your first run of a mission similarly to how you'd approach your first run against a boss in mainline or Persona. Your main goal is to try to get as far as you can through the encounter to see how all the different phases work, before getting blown in half and then having to try again, but this time with a squad you've built special just to tackle this fight. Speaking of which, team composition and your tools for building your teams are a little remix in Devil Survivor. You control up to 4 squads at once, each acting like a small mainline party with a human leader and 2 demons. Like I've alluded to previously, demons in SMT aren't all red imp guys from hell. They're like manifestations of belief in legends. You've got a selection of various religious figures, mythological creatures, and other weird stuff. Pretty good example of how weird the inclusions can get is the Pendragon. It's not actually based off a mythological dragon that was said to exist or anything. Pendragon is a title that King Arthur's dad gave himself after winning a battle where 2 comets flew across the battlefield. So not even a monster from the story, but a representation of a title and symbol. It's kind of like if the eagle on a dollar bill was a demon. Coincidentally, the story of the battle with the comets being what inspires the dragon title is probably also the inspiration for the twin-tailed comet Warhammer. So the Pendragon and twin-tailed comet are kind of similar figures from the same base material. It's a funny connection to stumble on when I already mentioned Warhammer twice. Anyway, demon recruitment no longer involves verbal negotiations. Instead, you buy or bid on demons using an auction site. It's functionally similar to a raw negotiation. You throw money at a demon until they become your friend. Except now you don't have to pay out unless you're guaranteed to be getting a party member. Demons won't bail on you anymore, but they will still try to take you for a ride sometimes. After winning an auction, there's a chance the amount you owe will change, or the demon might have just been catfishing you and they were never who they claim to be. As the plot progresses, more
Oh, so it works just like a dating site. Sorry.
demon types will become available, and whenever time passes or you restart the game, the auction site will refresh, giving you a new selection. It's a good idea to check through what's available, even stuff you might not think you want. If they're rated 5 stars, there's a chance they might have an extra skill you do want. Overall, it's a pretty fun system. Unlike negotiations, there's no auction-specific skills or anything though, making it feel a little bit shallow in comparison. Roster progression functions similar to other SMT games with a few twists. For humans, the biggest change is you have a big list of skills you can freely equip to your squad leaders at any time between battles. You fill this list out through cracking skills, by first choosing an unlearned skill an enemy has, assigning a squad leader to that enemy, and then defeating that enemy with that squad leader's party. Humans will level up at a fairly reasonable rate, while demons tend to require way more XP to advance. As demon members fall behind and become obsolete, you're meant to combine them to create stronger party members through the fusion system. Figuring out fusion is still a fairly complex task, but it's pared down a bit in Devil Survivor, likely to offset how many more demons you'll have to manage at once. Instead of having 8 generic slots, demons have 3 slots for attacks, 3 for passives, and 1 tribal skill based off their family. There's also far less learned skills per character. Fusing 2 demons together generally results in a demon of a higher level, letting you maintain a party close to your main character's level without grinding the ludicrous amount of XP demons require. The catches are that you can't create a demon that's a higher level than your main character, and while a resulting demon can inherit skills from the fused demons, a lot of the time the resulting character can't make great use of them. Getting the skills you want where you want them can be a bit of a puzzle, but figuring it out is essential if you want to complete these games. I was fairly reliant on sacrificial fusion to transfer relevant skills throughout my Nocturne playthrough, but with
Oh god, that's why I didn't want to make that joke. Like, just a couple messages and people are already going too far with it. God damn it. Anyway. I like how Devil Survivors out here using old demon art in a post-Nocturne and Persona 3-4 world, especially old Thor. I mean, like, a lot of Japanese games do that, right? Like, they really love, like, reusing assets over there. They are very economical, like, people, you know? But anyway. Monica's gang in the US, lol. Unrelated, but, like, unrelated but reminder, Shiro would absolutely obliterate Kirei and Kiritsugu and Emiya. Like, I just need to make sure we're on the same page. Yeah, you were born an old man. What are you now, a sage? I know you get no girls, so maybe a great sage. Please get the reference. I do not. Also, fuck you. Dilbert is really old. I love when SMT lets me hand out the BS, especially the BS enemies have been using. Have to eat all the eggs. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, I just noticed what I said. Honestly, I prefer the old Thor. I'm not too much a fan of the new design. Did 5 have a new Thor or just a new Odin? I haven't seen like the Thor in 5, so I couldn't tell you. Anyways, I'm used to Nocturne Thor. Old Thor is bad. Yeah, I do prefer the old like SMT design for Thor instead of the new one.
With that gone in Devil Survivor, I was kinda lost for a while. Luckily, the game occasionally lets you give a demon an attack from your list of crack skills mid.
It was a Tensura reference. Oh, sorry, I haven't watched the newest like season of like Tensura. I only watched, I think, the first and the second season, as well as the movie and the like Slice of Life spin-off. But like, if the reference you're making is on the new season, then like I unfortunately will not get it. And if it is on the older seasons, then I'll just blame it on my bad memory. Five is the Nocturne Thor. New Thor was 4, I think. Okay. Wait, let me. No, I fucking can't. God damn it. Because let's make sure we're on the same page. Like, in regards to what we're talking about, right? Old Thor is the red guy, and like the new Thor is the dude with the like golden helmet and leotard, right? Like, where are we talking about the like same thing? Or is there a new version of Thor that I'm not aware of? I like SMT 5 Odin and Zeus designs. Oh, I love those designs too. Like, they're really cool. At least new Thor doesn't look like a JoJo reject. Oi. Like, I like the new Odin, okay? Like, new Odin is cool. You shut up.
Battle, which does help a lot, but passives must be gained through fusion. I eventually did stumble onto the other way to parry skills over that was introduced in Nocturne and carried into DS. Let's say you have a demon with a skill and another existing demon that you want that skill to be on. Fuse the skill haver demon with a demon of the same family. This will create an elemental, and also costs $1,000. Make sure to transfer that skill onto the elemental. Then make a different elemental, and fuse the two elementals together into one of those goofy teardrops with a face.
Don't worry, Thor still looks like a lucha libre. Okay, so yeah, I don't like the new Thor. I prefer the old design. So yeah, I'm sticking with that opinion. New Odin is a Kamen Rider. Hell yeah.
Again, make sure to transfer the skill you went over to the teardrop, and then pay $3,000. Finally, fuse that teardrop and the demon who you want to put the skill on, and the resulting character should just be the skill-needing demon, but you're given a chance to move the skill onto him. It's costly and time-consuming, but
It works.
your usual goal with fusion is to make winning teams, obviously. But what that looks like in Devil Survivor is a little bit different from mainline. In mainline,
Okay, so that's what you were talking about, A. Fisher. Okay. First, WT, second. Oh wait, the reference was to Season 1, Episode 1. Anyway, you should finish it and read the LN. Yeah, so I'm just gonna blame my bad memory there. Sorry.
you're trying to create a few OP demons to carry fights or counter a specific boss. This means building a team that's good at shutting down enemies' turns as well as extending your own while weaving in buffs and heals when you get the chance. In Devil Survivor, the general goal is to construct your squads in a way that both synergize with the leaders you have while also being built to counter enemy squads, effectively enough to be able to cut them down in as few turns as possible. As an example, Yuzu is slow, so pairing her with a demon that could boost her speed or extend her attack range is kind of required. After you have that baseline, you have to give her and her team damage types and resistances that let her specialize against some of the stuff you're currently running into. Let's say 3 archetypes of squads are spawning. A, B, and C. You can't be good against everything, so you specialize Yuzu's team against A and a little bit against B, and then set your other two squads up similarly, but specialize them against different squads than the ones Yuzu wants to target. Once you've got that all set up, battles become kind of a mix of checkers and rock, paper, scissors, where you try to position to take good matchups while trying to avoid bad matchups. If that sounds simple, that's because I'm simplifying. In game, you're not dealing with ABC labels, you're dealing with mainland SMT.
And like it's exactly because of that bullshit that I don't blame anyone for like playing this game with like guides like Poseidon. Like that can be really difficult to keep in mind.
SMT are considered to be fairly difficult games, and in those you're just dealing with isolated encounters. In Devil Survivor you're dealing with a bunch of encounters running around at once. Just by merit of having more variables, you can kind of see why the game gets its reputation of being very difficult. So in closing, I thought it was a pretty good game that played around with some fun ideas and demonstrated the kind of interesting things you can get out of proper spin-offs. If I were to rate the current SMT games I've played so far by difficulty, it's just been like a straight climb up. DS at the top, followed by Nocturne, and then the 3 Persona games I've played so far.
Rating by quality is a different story, though.
I generally like the designs in like 4, honestly. Like I feel like most of like SMT4's demon designs are really good. Yeah, some of the changes are weird, but mostly I think they're for the better, at least in my opinion.
To solve this objectively, first remove the soulless titles, then equate the 3 remaining titles to Pikmin types of the share the best. Red are in the good category since they do more damage, and then nose looks like a hummingbird since
Did they make any like no, obviously they introduced new demons in Apocalypse. What the fuck am I talking about? Okay.
Pikmin Trick Nectar, it makes sense and works. Blue are also good because they have gills which makes them strong.
Okay, so let's see. Okay, no. Okay, I'm going to be switching videos, and while I do, like, you can have like lollies on the screen. Since I do not want you to see like my viewing habits. Okay, now let's get here. Anyway, probably gotta go. Have a good stream. My Chud sub 5 pathetic senpai. Fuck you, Arma. Have a good day. I wonder what animal OA is. I think I'm off. It is a joke. No one in chat will ever get. I love the OST of 4. One of the best shop teams of. Oh yeah, he's definitely going to talk about that. He talks about like the music extensively in his like SMT4 videos. Yeah, that's because they really like not only go really anime with the story of Apocalypse, they go really like weeb anime, you know? Because like they really wanted to popularize the main series because most people only know the spin-off Persona. So their objective with Apocalypse in putting like all those cliches and making it more waifu focused, like anime cliches and fan service, and putting like that more waifu focus and etc., was because they wanted to like replicate Persona's appeal in like SMT. Obviously that didn't work and just like ended up pissing off the fans of Shin Megami Tensei who like the unique things that they do, and so that's why they reverted it. But yeah, that's the reason like that those changes were made to Apocalypse. Actually, both. If I'm not wrong, even the new Lucifer design was changed in Apocalypse. Interesting, I never knew that. They were attempting to make demographic changes. Yeah, because, like, even though Shin Megami Tensei was the originator, like, it's the main franchise, Persona, which is supposed to be the spin-off, is, like, infinitely more popular than Shin Megami Tensei, right? So they were trying to make the original more popular by making it more like Persona, you know? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Exactly. Like, Shin Megami Tensei is, like, fairly successful. It's obviously more of a niche success than, like, Persona, but there's no need to make it more like Persona. And every time they attempted to do that, they always just failed. So, yeah, they really was not a good idea. At least it was better than Mr. Fanboy in, like, 5. Oi, what do you have against, like, my man, the like, fucking hell, the name was on the tip of my tongue. Oh yeah, what do you have against my man, the Nahobino? Like, what do you have against, like, the Alpha Chad protagonist with blue hair? Like, you put some respect on the Nahobino's name, you bastard. You don't say shit like that. P4 was the best game in the world until it was everywhere. Oh, Persona 4. Now Golden exists and is honestly better, but poisoned by the ironic response to 4 and its infinite derivatives and adaptations. Exactly, what do you have against the Nahobino? Anyway, moving on.
Shin Megami Tensei 4 is a JRPG developed for the Nintendo 3DS.
Game over!
Shin Megami Tensei 4 is a JRPG developed for the Citron Nightly build 1757. Marketed as the first mainline entry to get a number in its name since Nocturne, it has
always the grown-ass man with the completely contrasted girl avatar. Welcome, I guess, to the stream, Berenice. Anyway, not even going to give that comment the time of day.
It had a lot to live up to. Nocturne's unique style, atmosphere, and gameplay additions mean that even now, almost 20 years later, the people who like Nocturne really like Nocturne.
Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne.
I love this meme, honestly.
It's in no way
like, why did they put some, like, really old people to, like, say this? Why? Anyway. I badly want to play SMT4's Chaos route. His whole chatness is from the other guy. He himself is just a fanboy. Anyway.
An easy act to follow up. You couldn't just undemi the Fiend, bug inside you some other high schooler, and then send them into some new inside-out rock garden world. I mean, you could, but if you did it right after Nocturne, you'd both intrude on its own unique identity, and reduce the wider mainline series aesthetic into guys with tribal tattoos playing around in the sand, the same way Persona games are always about high school antics. So as a latecomer who only recently got into mainline through Nocturne, I really didn't know what to expect.
Thank you, Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. That was used in so many memes, like, ironically. Like, every time a YouTuber, like, dies to, like, an instant death spell, either, like, Banishment Light one or, like, a death spell, right? They always put that meme. Like, whenever they get hit with instant death spells, like, you can be sure that they're going to edit that meme in. It's just kind of tradition in the community at this point.
Going into 4. Other than it was fairly well liked, had a good soundtrack, and some of the characters made very funny faces. I was pleasantly surprised to find that the game not only presents itself in a manner totally different to Nocturne, but also manages to carve out a separate original identity for itself, with one of the best settings, soundtracks, and narratives I've ever seen in a game. I'd say similar things about Nocturne too. I don't think I have a clear favorite between the two, but gun to my head I'd probably lean Nocturne due to some gameplay changes I'll get into later. The game starts off with a warning that it's a work of fiction, which is a good thing, because right after, you're presented with your player character flying above the cloud line, listening to a Legends of the Hidden Temple episode dubbed in Swahili.
I'll tell you what's gonna happen here.
Meeny, tekel Upharsin.
Many awaken from their slumber within the earth's soil.
The lion's roar has drowned out the great eagle.
Thank you, Olmec.
This is real, right?
After a few more scenes of a dream sequence, you wake up to find yourself.
No, I did not read like the Shin Megami Tensei like 4 mangas. Like I didn't even know that it had mangas. Like until you like said anything. So yeah, I'll definitely have to check those out later.
Yourself in the Eastern Kingdom of Mikado. It's like the 1500s or something, and not like fantasy 1500s either. There's no goblins or dragons running around at first glance. The player character, who I'm mostly just gonna call Flynn, his name defaults to Flynn, everyone calls him Flynn on the internet and he looks like a Flynn, and also a little bit like an owl. Anyway, the player character and their friend are headed to the capital city of Mikado to undergo the Gauntlet Rite, a test to see if they'll be inducted into the ranks of samurai, Mikado's soldiery class. Both Flynn and his friend are casualries, which are peasants, and since a person's class is dictated by their bloodline, the only real chance of moving up in the world they have is becoming samurai. Your friend goes ahead of you and is turned down. When Flynn steps up, a priest's opacity slider is a gauntlet onto his arm, and moments later, it slides open to reveal a digital display. The screen lights up, indicating that Flynn wins the Gauntlet Rite. Now, as a samurai, it's revealed to the player that they're not just ye old cops, but that under Mikado Castle, there's a cave system demons climb up to reach the surface worlds, and it's your job to stop them. You're introduced to the other 4 new samurai who have also passed the Gauntlet Rite: Walter, Jonathan, Isabu, and Navarre. Walter's a casualry like Flynn, but the other 3 new recruits are from Mikado's nobility, denoted with the difficult.
Alright, why is Mr. Samurai named Flynn? Like, what's the, like, symbolic meaning of his name? Fuck if I know, man. Like, I just know that it's the default name. Like, that's all I know. I'm sorry. Like, I have no idea if it even has, like, some kind of deep meaning behind it. My headcanon is that he chose it, or some Undertale stuff. Anyway.
To say title of lecturer. Isabu and Jonathan don't really seem to care all that much about the caste difference. Navarre, on the other hand, is a huge prick about it. Jonathan's got a strong sense of duty and is happy to be a samurai if it means he gets to protect Mikado. Walter's just kinda happy to be there since it means he doesn't have to be a peasant farmer anymore. Isabu's fairly reserved, she's just doing her best to keep up with expectations and roll with the punches.
Like, dude is a Japanese name, freaking Flynn. No, but like, you know what? Let's get on with the video and it will make sense why the names in general, because like, let's go over the names of all the characters.
Right. Walter, Jonathan, Isabu, and Navarre.
Like, none of these names are Japanese sounding, right? And like, there's a very good reason for that, which he's going to get to.
Building a team by convincing some to fight. They do a strong sense of duty and is happy to be a samurai if it means he gets to protect Mikado. Walter's just kinda happy to be there since it means he doesn't have to be a peasant farmer anymore. Isabu's fairly reserved, she's just doing her best to keep up with expectations and roll with the punches. Navarre's just kind of a smug prick. From here the gameplay actually starts as you and your fellow apprentice samurai learn the ropes about keeping the endless tide of demons from coming to the surface. Not only through direct combat, but also by building a team, by convincing some to fight with you, and also monster mashing volunteering demons together into even stronger demons. I'll talk more about that later though. There's still narrative setup. Like the first 6 of the game is the setup. Also there's a big reveal I'm gonna...
Does Flynn look Japanese to you? Like, how? Like, I can kind of see why you don't think like Jonathan and Walter look Japanese, but why does Flynn look Japanese to you? Like, what logic is that?
Gonna spoil, but it's pretty obvious when it happens, and even the OST cover spoils it. And knowing about it doesn't really ruin anything. Anyway, during the extended intro bit, you go on training missions to the Demon Hole, and have some slice-of-life adjacent moments where the new samurai hang out. At some point, Navarre steals fizzy lifting drink and gets Oompa Loompa out of the plot. After a few days, or months of training, I can't tell how much time is supposed to have passed, it's weird. Anyway, after some time has passed, the samurai hear about a mysterious figure called the Black Samurai.
I mean, like, one sec. I mean, he kind of has to be, like, given uh how the Cathedral of Shadows is now just an app on like your Gauntlet screen, you know? So like it just makes sense within context. Yes, to you he doesn't. Yes, to you he doesn't. He has squint eyes and has a samurai ponytail. Best SMT video on YouTube. Oh, welcome to the stream, Akira. But let me 423. Okay, let's go back and let's take a good look at Flynn's face. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Like seeing it a bit more, he doesn't look necessarily Japanese, but like I can definitely see why you think he looks kind of Asian-like. They didn't need him to be there. It could have just been a fusion app. You know what? Fair. Heck, they even changed it in 5, I think, to where there's no like guy in the Cathedral of Shadows anymore. It's some like really big-breasted lady for some reason. Anyway. Wait, nope. I was thinking of Fion Makun. Fion Maku. Yeah, I think that's how you pronounce that. Anyway.
Figure called the Black Samurai, who's been handing out literature to the peasants. These books are actual works that exist in real life, but they're fairly recent and definitely not stuff that's supposed to exist in the 1500s. I mean, I guess you could also say that about the screen and the gauntlets, but that could be magic, I guess. Anyway, the books stoke discontent from the casualties who read them, making them much more resentful about their unfair relationship.
Isn't he still mentioned in 5? I forgot. I don't know. If he is, I haven't like seen it. I just know that for some reason they changed the old guy like to like some sexy lady for whatever reason. Who? Like could you elaborate, a Fisher? Like what do you mean who? Fion Maku. Spelled Fion Mak yeah.
With the nobility than they were before. Shortly after hearing about the Black Samurai in literature for the first time, a nearby village comes under attack. When the samurai arrive, they learn that the place had actually been torched by the children of the town, who, after reading the Black Samurai's books, anamorphed into demons. They find the Black Samurai hanging out in the woods. As it turns out, the samurai is a chick in a spacesuit. When confronted, she smugly claims that she's just trying to spread knowledge and wisdom. When the apprentice samurai attempt to arrest her, she deploys her 40 self-defense skanks she keeps in her pockets to make the men go pink while she escapes. After hearing about the incident, Mikado's leadership ordered the samurai to descend into the deepest parts of the demon hole, into the Unclean Ones country, to capture the Black Samurai. Going down there is something they're really not.
He isn't going to talk about that in the video, but anyone that like played or at least is familiar with Shin Megami Tensei's 4 story is is going to get this reference. The girl has been corrupted by Tokyo's manga. She must be cleansed immediately. Just gonna drop that on you. Anyway.
Supposed to do, usually, but they're making an exception if it means stopping the scourge of literacy from spreading to the surface world. After the game's first 2 main boss fights, and also after the apprentices find some guns.
Scanning. This is a weapon called a gun.
These guns could come in useful.
The game stops beating around the bush and finally reveals its true setting.
There are stars below us.
An apocalyptic Tokyo is at the bottom of the demon.
So yeah, that's why like they don't have Japanese names. You know, that's because this isn't set in Japan. Like what happened is that there are 2 societies that established themselves due to a particular incident in Shin Megami Tensei 4. We have the normal, like Tokyo, below, which is the Unclean One's country. And they have like normal Japanese names, whatever. And then we have the Kingdom of Mikado, which is composed of people who are acting as if they are in like, yeah, like a Western medieval setting. That's why their names don't sound Japanese. So yeah, that's the explanation, Genérico. Okay. I would say something, but I don't want to spoil anything. Okay.
You're finally given the world map to navigate, and from here the real plot starts as the four apprentice samurai explore Tokyo to try and find and capture the Black Samurai. Hijinks ensue. Like I said, the reveal being a surprise.
If you fucking played the game, then you knew that. Why was it... Flynn is like a weird name to you because it's not recent, but it's actually a fairly common name. It was a fairly common name, like in ancient Europe, you know? It's similar to, for example, like Abigail. Like while you will see some woman named Abigail nowadays, most of them are really old, like 60 and above, because it's a name that's fading out. The same thing is true with Flynn. Like it was a name that was really common, but that faded out over time. And that's why someone in the setting like can have it. Because while it sounds weird for us, it makes complete sense, like given for him to have it given the setting, you know? I'm Ian Flynn from Shin Sonic Tensei. Shut the fuck up. Mikado is funny because it has Japanese place names, but they're very vaguely Fritellian. Fritellian, I'm using that. They could have named him like Arthur and it would have been the same. Okay, dude, like, whatever. I get your point. Like, I'm not discussing this anymore. Like, I get what you mean. Let's continue.
Doesn't matter that much. It's pretty heavily telegraphed between the power armor, your gauntlet having a screen and an onboard AI, the modern books you see, and also there's a burnt out modern city in the dream sequence at the start of the game. The extended intro portion just acts to fill in the samurai's background, which is nice since they're not just normal high schoolers transported into Silly World like a lot of the other Mega 10 games protagonists. They're citizens of Silly World A being transported into Silly World B. The starting hours serve to establish what their version of normalcy is like. The game's doing a sort of hybrid fish out of water thing with its protagonist and setting. You've both got the people who don't know what electricity is time traveling to the modern world flavor. The Tokyo's also filled with all sorts of mythical creatures, spirits, and deities walking around. And among the modern buildings, there's strange
I don't know if this will be a hot take, but I feel like Shin Megami Tensei 4 has definitely like one of the like the absolute best setting out of any Shin Megami Tensei game. Like, don't get me wrong, I really like the settings for all of them, but I definitely think that 4 has the most interesting setting, like, at least conceptually, of them all.
Monoliths and other unnatural constructions. Even the not inherently magical parts of Tokyo are very stylized and make you feel like you're urban exploring a city-sized arcade and laser tag. So on top of the people who don't know what electricity is time traveling to the modern world, the samurai's descent into the depths feels analogous to something like The Wizard of Oz, Narnia, or Alice in Wonderland.
Nah, 2 is better. 2 is really interesting as well. Like, it's really cool how they really develop the post-apocalypse from 1 and really make a whole like post-apocalyptic kind of futuristic society. Like, that is really cool, but I still prefer 4. 4's vibes are immaculate. I concur. The OST and setting are exquisite. Obscure, would you survive if you were isekai'd into SMT? Definitely not. How long would you last? About 30 seconds, I'd say.
Where ordinary people get sent to a ridiculous cartoon world. Despite all the narrative talk, the game is mostly gameplay. Once you enter Tokyo, the narrative becomes a little bit more spread out, and there's large spans where you're left to just stumble around and focus on the game's mechanics without too many dialogue dumps. If you're not
Yeah, this YouTuber hasn't posted in like 3 years. He's been too busy editing for Kaneko Lumi. Yeah, if you didn't know, Foul Energy now works as Kaneko Lumi's editor. That's why he hasn't posted anything. But anyway,
aware already, SMT is Pokemon's weird occult dad. Your goal in the game is to explore areas currently available to recruit and farm demons to increase your protagonist level, which then allows you to recruit and control even more demons. The demons under your control can be fused together to create stronger or just more specialized demons, and when you think you've got a good party set up, you go to knock over whatever boss you're currently being progress blocked by to make the plot keep going and unlock new areas with new demons that have new skills for you to incorporate into your team to help you beat future bosses that will inevitably wipe the floor with you on your first attempt. A turn-based JRPG where the main focus is the turn-based RPGing is definitely a hard sell for a lot of people. The genre is a bit of an acquired taste. I'm not usually a big fan of them either, but Nocturne and SMT4's combination of mechanics and presentation of their setting really won me over. By presentation, I don't necessarily mean graphics. The game looks fine, the background art is high enough quality, even if a lot of the NPCs do look a bit crushed to hell, and the 3D environments are pretty close to looking like Nocturne's PS2 quality locations, but it's just pretty good on its own. The visuals really aren't enough to convey the setting's unique personality on their own. However, they're more than halfway met by the game's OST, which has over 100 tracks on it that communicate everything the bit-crushed NPCs can't. There's a lot of examples of how much weight the music pulls. For instance, you buy weapons from the black market in-game. To gain access, you've got to answer a fake Jamaican's riddle first, who will then introduce you to a JPEG of a guy in a chair surrounded by a bunch of guns. There's a menu, you can buy and sell things. He says,
"This is real, right?"
Which makes me laugh because it sounds like he's having a sub-lucid trip or something. It's all serviceable. Or it would be just serviceable. But the store sounds like... This still image of a guy in a chair is one of the best shops in a video game. Got something to...
Fucking... Yeah, someone else said that, like, Shin Megami Tensei 4 had one of the, like, best soundtracks. Like, I definitely concur with that opinion. The soundtrack for this is awesome.
Mighty. Just because the theme perfectly projects what the shop is supposed to be about. It's not just because the track's good. The video game is blasting noises that sound audibly illegal. The whole game is like this. The different unique location themes are 70% of what makes the setting stand out. The OST is also used to make the swap from Okada to Tokyo feel more stark. The music at the start of the game sounds nothing like the music in the city. It's more generic fantasy RPG music.
To address what Akira said, I really feel like obviously the music carries it a lot, but I really feel like he's like selling the art short. Because just that JPEG of, like he said, the guy in the chair, like has a lot of personality. A lot more than just some generic vendor, you know? So I really feel like the art still does like a good job at expressing that.
When you enter Tokyo for the first time, it's a combination reveal of the real setting and the real soundtrack, as the game hits you with a track that perfectly encapsulates the feeling of shock and wonder you'd get after discovering millions of Japanese people live under your house. Probably the most effective track in the game is the boss theme. The first boss's reveal is timed in a way that makes the scene feel more like it's a reveal of the fight music than the fight itself.
I will dine on your blood that wishes to mingle with the unclean. Now come, samurai. Put on a good show.
Like the other tracks, the boss theme does its job perfectly.
Amazing.
The chimes add a little mysticism to the song, so it fits in when you're fighting weird spirits. And the guitars add intensity that can follow up someone initiating combat by screaming,
And I shall crush the man betwixt my hands, and take the woman for a bride.
One thing that like this reminds me of is that there's this like Shin Megami Tensei challenge runner, right, called Niarli, who he said that he needs to win this battle with Asmodeus at all costs, because like if he doesn't, then there will be a timeline out there where like Isabu is like forced to marry him, you know? And like it's really funny because like he talks about it like it's a bad thing, but I feel like most like modern women would probably actually really like to be married to this guy, you know? But anyway.
Suddenly, this looping 5-frame GIF feels like a more intense boss than stuff you see in a lot of AAA games. There's one more really excellent presentation thing, or like 1.5, or like 1 and 2 halves. First half point being how good demons look. Demons in SMT aren't like Red Devil guys. Well, most of them aren't. They manifest as pretty much any mythical creature, legend, religious figure, spirit, cryptid, or even like archetypes of people or representations of wider beliefs or concepts. It's very broad. Pretty much anything people feel or believe can manifest as a demon, and the wide range of characters are represented in a wide range of styles.
But Isabu is not a modern woman. That is a great point. But like I feel like even like women in the past like were still like big monster fuckers. So like I don't know if that changes much. Anyway, Cats Agi. Oh no, don't do that. Don't fucking do that. God damn it. God damn it, Jonathan. No, wait, Walter. God damn it, Walter. Fucking. Anyway, do the samurai truly know no limits? Indeed not. Okay, lol, true, depends on the woman, but that's facts. Someone on AO3 is probably writing that fanfic right now, probably. She's a noble warrior with a gentle heart, and also a little freaky. Don't think he's being prescriptive about who she is. He's just saying women can be degenerates also. In this specific way. Like, anyway. Fan cells destroy woman's reputation. Behold my demons. So many great lines, I swear. Beyblade looking ass.
Mixing older SMT designs with newer looks as well.
I mean, it pretty much just looks like you attached parts of a rat to a Beyblade, so can't really blame him.
Well as a number of guest artist designs. The other half point I want to mention is how demons move in combat. Like NPCs, demons are bit crushed and low-res looking during combat. Unlike NPCs, demons have idle animations that range in complexity from hovering lazily to firing guns, scuttling, or... The full point, really good presentation thing happens when an enemy is eliminated. Demons exit the living world in a way related to the type of attack that last hit them. Fire attacks incinerate demons, ice freezes and shatters them, slash cleaves them in half, blunt punts them into the stratosphere, wind spaghettifies them, almighty unmakes them, and I don't know what makes them do this.
Reminds me of the scene where the guy fuses with his like wife succubus and becomes Jack Frost saying fuck. Wait, where does that scene occur? What? Like, in what SMT game, like, what SMT game is that scene from? Like, what kind of, like, really out there shit is this? The idle animation doesn't help. Yeah, it really doesn't. Actually, like, god damn it. Imagine getting ragdolled and flung from physical attacks in the modern games, and that would be cool. Honestly. What was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, there's like, they usually pop two guns or pierce, I think. In one of the oldest ones. I don't know about I don't know about that scene, but I do know that there's a scene in the first one where one of your like companions, like in Shin Megami Tensei 1, the very first Shin Megami Tensei, right? There's a scene where one of your companions, he forcibly takes a demon from your stock and fuses himself with it. And like a lot of people, due to this, like because it's a very annoying mechanic because it essentially forces you to lose a demon. So what a lot of people do is that they like purposefully put like a pixie in the slot he usually takes your demons from, so that they can like headcanon like the process as him becoming a fanboy. As a way to like punish him for doing that in the first place. Anyway, moving on.
Unfortunately, emulation breaks the animations. The demon's transparency layer turns black or something. This makes all the deaths worse to some degree, but it totally ruins the slash animations that heavily feature the character silhouettes. Even in their broken state, these idle animations and death effects help SMT4's combat to feel a lot more visceral than usual JRPG combat where defeated enemies poof from existence.
We're sorry.
Instead, it's a lot closer to the impactful feedback you'd get from the sprite-based Doom games. Like Nocturne, SMT4 uses the press turn system for its turn-based combat, which grants additional moves to you if your attacks exploit an enemy weakness.
It was with pixel art. If it was like a scene in pixel art, then it must have been like in either SMT 1, 2, or 4. Like, I don't think that was in 4 Apocalypse, and since you're referring to like the older games, it must have been a scene in like Shin Megami Tensei 1 or 2. But I'm not remembering it right now, sorry. Reminds me of using some green fairy while being at some mermaid place. What? Of someone using some green fairy? Oh, I get what you mean now. Good one. Kind of offensive joke, but fairy in the past used to be slang for gay in some places, so I'm not going there.
Are critically hit, while wasting additional moves if you miss your target, or your target nullifies your attack in some way. These rules apply to enemy turns too, and as a result you get a really engaging combat system, where having a wide range of damage types, or just the correct damage types, lets you wail on your enemies without them being able to respond, while having the right resistances on your team lets you cancel enemy turns entirely.
Before it's a scene from one of the like Super Nintendo spin-off games, imagine. I love the press turn system. Me too. Honestly, like out of all the like non-standard RPG like game, like turn-based RPG systems, out of all of them, Black Souls' system is my favorite. But like the press turn system from Shin Megami Tensei, like is definitely up there. It's either my second or third favorite, honestly. So yes, I really like it too. It's a really good way to like spice usual like RPG combats. Like, well, I think.
Something you want to do as much as possible because everyone in SMT4 hits like a truck.
Thinking about it, that joke doesn't even work, since fusions don't work like that in Shin Megami Tensei. Shh. Let me enjoy the joke, man. I know it doesn't make any sense, but shh. Let me enjoy it. When he says he's not going there, he is not saying he's homophobic. He is saying he is not going to discuss the controversial topic. Thanks for, like, clarifying that. I didn't even know that could sound like I'm being homophobic, honestly. The SMT guy fuses with a succubus doesn't work. Anyway.
It's me!
Nocturne's already considered to be pretty hard, but in that game when you fail, it's because you get attritioned out or you are weak to your enemy's damage type, so they got to attack your party leader a million times in a row. SMT4 is nice enough to do away with the main character death meaning a game over, but only because it's not gonna save you.
You didn't make it!
If a decent-sized enemy squad gets
in BS2, I don't like how many times you have to go into the inventory each turn. Like, it can definitely get annoying, but I still really like it. I still really like the whole system of having to switch weapons and use various abilities and like really utilize your arsenal in general, like to its fullest, you know? I can see why it would be a bit annoying, but I still really like it. As someone who used to tinker with RPG Maker, BS's battle system is surprisingly easy to implement when you learn more about the VX Ace engine. Interesting. I don't like Neza's design. Oh, like Neza's design from like this game. Okay. Where is like Neza? Did you see it on screen? Or are you talking about just in general?
It's the chance to attack, you're probably going to take some casualties. To help balance things out, while in 3D environments, you can swing your weapon, and if you hit one of the enemy encounter blobs before they touch you, you'll get to go first in battle. Unfortunately, on the Tokyo map, you don't get to swing, or have arms at all. You're a little thimble man who initiates fights by bumping into enemies. Turn order.
I'll be honest, the only Neza I know is like the one from Fate Grand Order. So for the longest time, I legitimately thought that Prince Neza was a girl because of Fate, you know. I only came to learn that he was originally a guy, hence Prince Neza, later on. But yeah, that's the only Neza design I'm accustomed to. It would be more convenient if you could use multiple items at once instead of going to the inventory each time. It could certainly be better, but I still think it's pretty good as it is. Yes, I did, on screen. He looks like a strange robot. Okay.
Gonna save you.
Oh, is this like Nata Taishi?
Type, so they got to attack your party leader a million times in a row. SMT4 is nice enough to do.
Let me see. Okay. Weird robotic guy.
These rules apply to enemy turn.
Oh, okay, so it's the Nata Taishi. The problem is that, again, the only Neza I'm like familiar with is the one from Fate. So I can't really have a good opinion on that. The weapon swap is literally 30 seconds of doing a copy-paste. You just grab any freeware programming script you can find online, paste a list of scripts, and bam, a funny functional system. Pretty cool to find out.
That wall in 3D environments, you can swing your weapon, and if you hit one of the enemy encounter blobs before they touch you, you'll get to go first in battle. Unfortunately, on the Tokyo map, you don't get to swing, or have arms at all. You're a little thimble man who initiates fights by bumping into enemies. Turn order is dictated by your team's agility here, so it feels pretty out of your control when you stumble into a firing line. Even more obnoxiously, sometimes enemy reinforcements spawn in at random and decide they get to attack before you. Not much you can do but save off so you don't lose progress to a bad engagement. Also new in SMT4, when a character does something that extends their turn or shrinks the enemy's turn, there's a chance they'll become aggressively smug until their next attack. While smirking, a character has a high dodge chance, and on their next attack they'll do bonus damage or deal a guaranteed crit if they use a raw attack. If you somehow manage to get your entire squad smirking at once, you'll get a free AoE heal and mana refill. This doesn't happen ever though. Smirking is probably one of the most hated features in the game because it can make you lose boss fights to RNG. If one of your guys gets critted and the enemy rolls a smirk, your options to react are limited, and there's a good chance you're just done. Now's as good of a time as any to mention.
I heard that like this is especially frustrating in the Minotaur fight because since Walter has the bad habit of like using fire spells which Minotaur resists, like if you pick him in order to assist you in that fight, you're pretty much just making the fight harder because Minotaur is pretty much guaranteed to roll a smirk, like given Walter's propensity. When I think about the Black Soul series in some aspects, I feel like there's one lone, shy, and silent boy in the classroom who on history lesson about World War II says, I would do it better. What? Neza is one of these... it's surprisingly not gender bent a lot in anime and games. The first one I knew is from Grand Blue Fantasy, his cool, albeit a bit of a generic guy. The teacher. Against the Germans, right? Right? Lol, I'm pretty sure he nullifies it, no? I just know that he's resistant in some way. I don't know if he, like, just resists it or nullifies it. I don't know the specifics. Weird, since Neza appears is referenced in some anime, especially the Chinese ones.
And that the other samurai...
Again, the only time I've seen is Fate.
can also help Flynn during fights. They'll toss out an attack after your team runs out of moves, soak up some damage from enemies on and off, which is usually pretty helpful and can even save you from death sometimes, but sometimes the other apprentices have a bad habit of using the wrong attacks on bosses, triggering the boss's smirk and losing you the fight outright.
Not again!
SMT is about gaining power. This involves buffing up both Flynn and your team of demons. Flynn Gresham in SMT4 is a bit different to how Fiend Gresham was in Nocturne. The Demi-Fiend's bug-chasing mechanic and refusal to wear a shirt are gone. Flynn learns his moves directly from demons and is contractually obligated to put on any outfit you tell him to. Different equipment will change his resistances, his stats, and how his attacks behave. Also new is whenever Flynn levels, he'll be awarded Apple Store credit he can spend on apps. These provide different bonuses and utilities, like letting you recruit 2 demons at once.
Thank you!
Like the Demi-Fiend, you can customize Finn's stat line exactly how you want, which is nice if you know what any of these numbers mean. Also, the main character's level still dictates what level of demon will be willing to listen to you. Speaking of demons listening to you, just like the other games, the demon stuff is the much more robust half of the game's progression. But before getting to actually do any of the robust stuff, you've got to convince them to listen to you, which is about as safe and easy as making deals with demons sounds. Assuming you can even understand them. Potential recruits will first open up with a line of questioning. They're very mean.
You can't stand up to a woman with personality. You may as well just lie in the mud and let me walk all over you.
And not very consistent or even coherent half the time.
You're quite reasonable.
There's no...
See what I mean about, like, Shin Megami Tensei conversations being, like, extremely out there? Like, just imagine that, like, a woman is just completely insulting you, like, saying you're garbage and that you don't deserve her time of day. You just say, like, get naked for me, bitch. And suddenly she loves you. Just imagine that actually happening in real life. Anyway.
Right answer to their demands, it's mostly RNG. They'll just play along if they feel like it. But some responses do seem to have a lower chance of pissing demons off.
I got something awesome. It's a ball of mood made by me.
If you can keep an enemy's attention for long enough, they'll start talking price. They'll ask you for a series of gifts and favors. Like Nocturne, you've got to say no to a few of their asks, otherwise the demon will think you're a doormat and leave. Once you've handed over enough pocket lint and tear gas grenades, the demon will fully relinquish their bodily autonomy and you own them. Once you've got them under control, demons act like party members. You can have up to 3 of them in your squad at once. They've all got different resistances and weaknesses, as well as different stat lines and movesets. Each demon also has a few skills they'll learn while leveling, and once you've unlocked them all, Flynn is able to learn any of their skills as long as they're not passives for some reason. Demons also have a limited shelf life. After a little while, they'll start falling behind Flynn in levels, and when they stop being useful, you're meant to recycle them using Fusion. With Fusion, you discard 2 lower level demons to get a single higher level demon. You'll be allowed to set the new demon's skills, picking from a list made up of what the new guy would have started with, plus all the skills of the 2 demons you fuse to get the new guy. SMT4 also heavily pushes special fusions, which require 3 or more specific demons and grant you an otherwise unobtainable team member, like the boss demon. Generally speaking, the fusion system is a lot lighter than Nocturne's, but there's an added focus on filling out the Pokédex, both to have more sources to collect skills from, but also so you have the proper parts to complete special fusions. That's just about everything. Genuinely like a 20 out of 10 game. If Atlas ever manages to do a remake or something, and I see a reveal trailer during E3 blasting, I'm gonna make the guys who cry at Star Wars look well adjusted.
Okay, so we concluded like all 3 people like simulating like demon negotiation the comments law. Anyway, yeah, we concluded all the videos that I wanted to watch for today, but like, do you guys want to watch some other video from this guy? He pretty much all his like reviews are awesome. So like, are you up for watching another video from him, or should we stop for today? Speaking of Grand Blue Fantasy, the gacha gods finally blessed me and I got an adoptive mom, Dead Dragon. I don't know how that works, but I'm happy for you. Thanks for the reactions, Obscure. Okay. Gonna need a bit more enthusiasm there. If you really like don't want, no, we already watched the Devil Survival one. Like we watched all his like Shin Megami Tensei reviews. Like I'm asking if you like want to see me react to anything else. If not, we'll just end stream for today. Okay. So yeah, I think we should end stream for today. Seems like most people like aren't too enthusiastic about it. So yeah, for now, like thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys next